What's this? Tom Cruise rumoured to be playing Jor-El in James Gunn's Superman movie? That would change everything. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. A very warm welcome back to the channel. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, on TikTok Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most. Welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCU Daily. Funny story, I'd already recorded today's DCU Daily, which I wasn't very happy with. I didn't think it was good enough. But then I was on Twitter, and one of these DC pages claims that Scooper Jeff Sneider is suggesting that one of the big names that could be playing Jor-El in James Gunn's Superman is Tom Cruise. Now, I did my Goodfellows laughing gif and the Basil Brush gif when I saw this post on top of this post, because I thought, that's insane. But I am reminded that Tom Cruise has a bit of a relationship at the moment with Warner Brothers, but the other side of me thinks, Tom Cruise working with James Gunn, could this be a possibility? Well, this would be a huge coup. And as I said, this would change everything, because there's no big superstars in this Superman movie. You go back to 1978, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Glenn Ford. I mean, Terrence Stamp as the voice of Jor-El was huge in Smallville in television terms. Russell Crowe as Jor-El in Man of Steel in the Snyderverse was huge for that movie. Kevin Costner as Pa Kent, huge. But this movie, at the moment, doesn't have any huge names. And it's been very interesting, because there's been no word on anyone playing Jor-El or Lara in this Superman movie, which I always felt rather suspicious, because you can't have a first Superman movie without a Jor-El or Lara. And I understand that this is not an origin story, but surely he must be using a couple of actors for those huge roles as part of this Superman universe. It's also very interesting. A few weeks ago, he did admit he would go back to do some pickups and some small reshoots. Here's the thing with James Gunn. Here's some tea for you. He very rarely does pickups or reshoots. One of the good things about James is he's very well organized on his productions and doesn't need to go back to fix things or anything like that. Could it be he went back, or he's going back to shoot Jor-El? That Tom Cruise is only available, or was only available for a certain time to shoot Jor-El, to play Jor-El. As I say, this would be huge. We still don't know who's playing Lara. And let's be clear here, this is just a rumour by Jeff Sneider. Now, I will repeat myself about Jeff Sneider. He's got good sources. He's more right than he's wrong. But he's also been wrong before. We all are. We're all wrong about things we get from our sources and stuff. That's okay. There's nothing wrong, with being wrong. Because there is a bravery about saying, well, I've heard that Tom Cruise is one of the names that could be playing Jor-El. As I say, this would be huge. Now, Tom's around 60, 61, maybe 62. I think that's his age. Now, Marlon was about 55 years old when he played Jor-El in Superman 78. He was at the height of his powers. Now, Russell Crowe wasn't peak Russell Crowe when he played Jor-El, but he was still a pretty big star name, and it was huge casting. I said for years before that Russell Crowe would be an excellent Jor-El, and I was very happy he was playing Jor-El. He was a great contemporary Jor-El. Let's not get it twisted. But if Tom Cruise is playing Jor-El, I would suspect that Jor-El will be revealed in the main trailer. And something I said in my deleted DCU Daily for today, I was talking about Superman Day, April the 18th. I was talking about, surely they're going to release this main trailer on Superman Day on April the 18th. Even the dumbest studio in Hollywood wouldn't be dumb enough not to release, the main trailer then. James Gunn has said about a week or so ago that he's working on this main trailer. I'm glad that James Gunn is working on this trailer and he's not got other people working on it. He knows how important this is going to be. And the Tom Cruise Jor-El reveal would be huge. But I'm also reminded that Tom Cruise has been used in the past to try and sell a problematic DC movie in The Flash. When it was rumoured he loved the Flash movie when he allegedly saw it. Now, Tom wasn't officially quoted in loving the Flash movie. We all remember that. We also remember that Stephen King, someone who had worked with Andy Muschietti on the It reboots, had said he's not a superhero fan, but he loved the Flash movie. So there were a lot of kind of untruths and big cons going on with that movie because they were desperate to sell it and desperate to get interest within it. And it never worked for one reason or the other. I'm sure the Ezra Miller controversies had something to do with it. But, as I say, Tom Cruise is a superstar. He's a genuine superstar. As I say, I don't think he's at the peak of his powers, but he's still making movies. There's plenty of things he's doing, and it looks like the final Mission Impossible film he'll ever be in, is going to be huge this year. The last one wasn't that huge, by the way, and I think the interest in those films has begun to dwindle. But anyway, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan, born on the 4th of July cocktail, Top Gun Maverick. I love him in Vanilla Sky. Jerry Maguire's a great film. I want Tom to get back into making these acting movies rather than these adrenaline junkie movies, which I'm really getting bored of. I'm really bored of seeing Tom jumping off high buildings, tall buildings. It's boring now, right? I'm sure it's great for him because he gets off on it, but he's such a great actor. He really is. People underestimate what a great actor he is. And Tom Cruise playing Jor-El in this movie would be a huge coup for James Gunn, DC Studios, David Zaslav, Peter Safran, and the rest of them. And I can't tell you at this stage if this is true or false. It also seems a bit late in the day to be talking about Jor-El. It looks like they were holding out for a big name. It looks like while they were filming, they didn't film any Jor-El things maybe, or James Gunn's been hiding who's playing Jor-El and Lara. But it is an interesting situation because, as I say, this film doesn't have any star names and it doesn't have any pull really in the terms of a star name. But as I say, Tom Cruise would be a huge addition to this movie. And I'm sure Jor-El hasn't got a big part to play in this movie, but you would imagine that Jor-El and Lara are playing a part in this movie. And as I say, if Tom Cruise is involved in this Superman movie, this would be absolutely huge and it would change the game. It would change the trajectory of this movie because, big names, and we're talking about Tom Cruise here. We're not talking about any, a small name. We're talking about a proper big deal. So if Tom is playing Jor-El, it would be absolutely huge and a huge marketing push for this movie that needs all the help it can get. Now I would be very excited about this. We've discussed lots of different things about the DCU, the red flags of this Superman movie, things I'm excited about. I said in the other video that I deleted that I really loved the teaser trailer. The only thing that kind of was a red flag in the teaser trailer was the lack of flying. And then we saw him flying in the TV spot. And then that's when I started to get worried about this movie. I started to really, really get hyped for the movie when I saw that teaser trailer, and I think a lot of people did. And that TV spot with that, let's be honest, not very good flying, you could even call it bad flying, was a concern, and they should never have released that. I don't know if they're going to touch up that flying sequence, but when James Gunn said the flying was going to be like the flying of the jet planes in Top Gun Maverick, I imagined something amazing. I didn't actually think they would actually get Superman to twist around like a jet. That's not what I thought they meant. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, a person, it just doesn't work. Let alone the flying down, with Superman's arms down by his side. That is not a good look either. But anyway, I digress. We will see what the flying actually looks like when we watch the movie. But, Tom Cruise potentially being in this movie can't hurt this movie. It can only uplift this movie. We've discussed how important this movie is to the future of DC, but especially Warner Brothers Discovery. Because if this movie launches huge, then it launches the DCU, and then there's lots of excitement for the DCU, and Warner Brothers all of a sudden. If this movie makes money, there's a potential of making lots more money and inspiring more movies than streaming shows, which is what we all want. We want cinema to be uplifted, not streaming. Streaming's not a good thing. Streaming's the death of entertainment. It's the killer of entertainment. It's cinema that gets people excited. And if we can have a really good cinematic Superman movie, nothing can be better than this. So hearing that Tom Cruise, there's a possibility Tom Cruise is playing Jor-El, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big thing, because Tom Cruise is the biggest name in Hollywood right now. I mean, look, the man's an icon. The man's a legend. He's as big a legend as Marlon Brando was back in the day. Admittedly, when Marlon Brando played Jor-El, he was at the height of his powers. He'd just done The Godfather. He was huge. And there's no question about that. But Tom Cruise is still a very, very huge name. What can I tell you about this? Look, at this moment in time, I don't know. I'm not going to say I can see this happening, but he has got a relationship with Warner Brothers. It is a possibility. It could be a big lie. It could be just another thing to get hype onto this movie. But I believe the main trailer will reveal who's playing Jor-El. And I think that's a very important thing to say. And whoever it is, it would be better if it's a big name, because this movie right now needs something to excite people more than it is, because it needs a big push. And as I said, if Tom Cruise is playing Jor-El, this is a big rocket up its backside. It will be amazing. As I say, everyone loves Tom Cruise. Everyone thinks Tom Cruise is a legend, and I'm sure he would be a great Jor-El. Whether or not he puts on a British, well-spoken kind of Shakespearean accent, I don't know if he's in the movie, right? But Tom Cruise being involved with this Superman movie can only be a good thing. And we'll see. We will see. I don't know right now. It sounds a bit too good to be true, if you ask me. But, wow. And there's some things happening, is there CinemaCon on the 1st of April? Is it the 1st of April? I don't expect much to go there. I think DC Studios at CinemaCon? I'm not sure. Warner Brothers will be there to be discussing its slate, but I don't expect much DC news there. But I do expect on Superman Day, April the 18th, for this Superman trailer to be revealed. And I think whoever's playing Jor-El will be revealed in that trailer on that day. If it's not Tom Cruise, I expect it to be someone a little bit famous. Now, there were rumours of Kurt Russell, which James Gunn nixed straight away. And I'm not sure. I think Kurt Russell's a great actor. I think Kurt Russell would be a great Jor-El. But freaking Tom Cruise as Jor-El, the biological father of Kal-El, Superman, the last son of Krypton, would be massive.